Yeah, I can't remember.
They like died.
That was a Gap Milk commercial, yeah. But
because he couldn't say milk.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't say it because his tongue was such a group.
Weirdos, man.
That is kind of weird, though.
It is. Welcome to the Nearest Exit Podcast. I am your
Bruh. I was trying to hold it together. I was like, what? It ruined it, man. I was trying to hold it together. That took place in a little thing. That's how you know.
That was like action.
I was with you.
I was intense. I was cool to tell him that his face down. I was over here with you and thinking like this.
I was in here. I was looking. I didn't see
I forget how loud you clap. I was like, the acoustics down here is amazing.
No, they really are though. On a really serious note.
That is. I was like, man.
We can record good vocals now.
Okay. Let's start. Let's try this again. Welcome to the Nearest Exit Podcast. I am your host, DJ Tre. We are back again, and I think we have a good one for you today. This should be very interesting today. Before we even introduce everyone who's here today, I just want to apologize for everything that is going to transpire in this episode because if the beginning, I haven't even the pre-recorded stuff is already ridiculous, so I just want to apologize in advance. Let's start I'm gonna say, yeah, it's his fault. It's definitely his fault. It's definitely his fault. But I'm gonna
clap like Thanos.
Yeah.
Bruh, come on, man. Oh, man.
Hilarious.
Call for my wife, kids gone.
Oh, my God.
You got the Infinity Stone for this clap.
Alright, let's get him out the way. We have the only, some of you may know him by Wendell, but this is Deacon, one of my best friends. We were roommates for
Too long.
Yeah, we were roommates for a long time before we got married. It was definitely too long.
Before we got married to other people.
Right.
You gotta clarify. You do have to clarify.
You gotta clarify.
You have to clarify.
You gotta say
before we got married to other people.
Hold on, brother. Look at these Freudian slips.
Bruh. Losing already.
Reclass.
Welcome to the Nearest Exit.
What was the topic?
Oh my God.
I'm just trying to introduce
I feel awkward.
I just want to introduce.
You want to move? Yes.
That was a nasty opener.
This one got hot.
All right, okay.
Oh my God.
Wendell and Chris got here. Oh man.
God, you can't go.
Yo. Okay.
Could have written that in the
So yeah,
Man,
so we got Deacon here,
we got the same type of
pastor
Be intelligent.
Koinonia
All that.
Bible Church in I don't know, it's not Grandview, South Kansas City.
Yeah.
It's Egypt from where I live, but Godspeed and blessings to everyone who takes that drive. All right, we're gonna get back to
down
you.
the street from my career too.
Yeah,
You don't come.
Because mine's up north.
because he's up north. Hey, and we're gonna go hit him. Ed Rollins, Spoken Vision. I don't know.
Wait. I gotta get this off my chest. It was mad times at his little joint where you'll bring it to a poem and I didn't know. Right? I felt like you were just talking. I think I heard 2 rhymes.
No, but go ahead.
He's this ill where he can conversationally rhyme. I respect it.
But
I think it's a poem right here.
But listen,
I don't even remember stuff.
you're not the only one who was surprised.
Right.
I was the host.
It was smooth.
And there was times where he would be like, all right, we're gonna go up, we're gonna keep this is what he would say. This is what he would say. All right, Trey, man, we done jumped a little bit, we're gonna keep the flow moving, keep it flowing. So I get up there about to introduce somebody, he said, and he started into a poem. It's like, these 4 letters. And L-O-V-E. Like, bro, what just happened? What are we doing?
But the most casual interest to a poem ever.
Like,
just
ever.
walked right into a verse and you like 8 bars in, it's like, oh, this is a poem.
So
I thought this was the dopest conversation ever.
So we're doing back and forth, we riffing back and forth,
right.
and then he go to a poem, and so I'm waiting for my chance to go back in to riff into it, and then I realize, oh snap, he in a poem.
Man,
so now I just got to do the Homer Simpson like fade into the bushes. I just gotta walk back off stage,
right.
like, oh, he definitely into a piece right now. Okay, well,
so it wasn't just me.
No, it definitely wasn't just you.
All right, cool, we good.
So we have Ed here. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm black.
All right, hey, that's
work.
It's important, especially in the summertime.
Yeah.
That's how it go down. And then we have my second returning guest, Chris Cobbins in the building. Father of Drew. New music coming out. I drew in the background. How about disclosure right now? There's a fairly good chance that Drew may make an appearance, whether willingly or unwillingly at some point. So I just want to put that out there. That could happen. But just keep playing the game. It's okay. But new music on the way.
New music, man. August 6th, man. Loving the Possible.
Loving the Possible. So to me, I know you always, you and Drew are always doing, videos on Facebook and stuff like that. I didn't catch the one where you came up with the name Loving the Possible.
Right.
So it sounds like Spades terms.
Absolutely.
Which leads me to ask the question: do you know how to play? And why have we never played?
You're too grown to learn.
And
it's not on my team.
When are you? Because I'm giving out hands, all types of.
So here's where everything goes left. I don't know how to play spades. Right? Right? Okay, I didn't grow up in a household we played spades, and I didn't even know spades was a thing for a long time. My daddy was a preacher, and we was in church all the time. Yeah, my grandfather would have said that. Yeah, my dad was cool with spades, but my grandfather would have said, it's playing cards, just gambling, right? So they didn't go to playing spades and playing cards, at least before they got out the house and stuff. So it wasn't, my mom really is not that kind of person, and so it just didn't get taught to me. But I got a lot of friends who play, and I'll be around while they playing. But I know they don't want to teach me. They be like, we'll show you, and then they'll forget to show me. I'm like, I don't want to. But I appreciate them loving me enough to pretend like they
real
want to
spades
show me.
players don't like teaching anybody.
Exactly. I found it out. I watch.
It's an app.
I'm commentary. I go to the joint. I'm commentary. I'm just in the background. But I see people saw people bidding, and I was like, so I asked like, so what is the bidding? Like, what are y'all bidding? And so that came to mind when I was writing like a love story about. I just know a lot of people going through a lot of relationship things, and so I wanted to find a way to talk about it in a not in like a preachy way, just a conversation about. And so I wrote a little story about two people who are about to get married or trying to get married, and the man is really in love with the lady, but he doesn't know if she loves him back. And she kind of does action things, but then she kind of sometimes doesn't. And so he's basically saying that we have love in the possible. Like, I'm in love, and with you, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you got. And so it's just walking that out.
Deep, bro.
Man, that's why he never asked me to write.
Not at all,
think
bro.
about that, man.
Yeah, it's it popped into my head, man. It's one of them things where I believe obviously the gifts come from the creator. So I don't even know where it comes from, man. I wanted to talk about the content, so I just wrote the songs, and I had the songs, and I didn't know what I was gonna call it, and then that just dropped into my head, like. And I actually texted my boy like, "Hey, yo, in spades." What is it? When you did, like, what is that? Okay, if I say I got 3 in the possible, what that mean? And he told me, I'm like, all right, we good.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I probably should know how to play, but I don't. Whatever, man. I do things that you can't do. What? You know what I'm saying? I can spell triskaidekaphobia. You know what I'm saying? I can't.
I don't even know
what is it?
It's a person who's afraid of the number 13.
All right, so
like you was playing spades, I was reading dictionary.
I'm out.
And that's been another episode. Welcome to the nearest.
That was
Detour.
Right. This ain't going right. No, you need to keep going. Right.
I'm the only one that got it.
Yeah, man, where'd Chris go? I don't know. He just left. He was number 13. 13.
Yeah,
All right, so like every episode, I like to do a kind of like an icebreaker or whatever. I've done some different stuff, but today it's because we all know each other. We've known each other. Some of you are, we know each other for a long time. Let's just say that. Yeah, we know each other for a long time, and but I know some of y'all differently than you know each other.
Right.
So I want to play just a quick game called Two Truths and a Lie, featuring Wendell Cole here.
Okay.
All right. So this game is pretty for y'all. I'm gonna give you guys 3 statements or 3 scenarios.
Okay.
2 of them are true. 1 of them are a lie.
Okay.
I have thought about this, and you can't make any faces or say anything.
You just gotta put your head.
Yeah.
That's all right. No, I can do my pastor face.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hilarious.
All right. So 2 of these are real. 1 of these is fake.
Okay.
All right.
So while we were roommates, we once threw our couch outside in the snow because there was a rabbit in the couch, a wild rabbit in the couch. Okay?
Was this the apartment that was in Kneebone City? Or?
This was...
Oh, it must...
On that I drink.
This indeed was, actually.
I just had
Indeed was.
No particular reason.
I think it was, actually. So that's 1. While roommates, we were once involved in a high-speed chase where we were shot at. Okay. Ooh. And the last one is we once went to the grocery store and bought a loaf of bread, left it on the counter, only to come home to find the entire loaf of bread had been taken by a mysterious creature. So, let's recap. Let's recap.
Do we get to collaborate on
Yes,
that?
please collaborate. So we got.
Go ahead, recap.
So we have the couch,
wild
drive by.
Wild
High speed chase.
high speed chase,
Bread.
the bread
Taken by mysterious animal.
taken by mysterious animal.
I'll tell you which one I like, and I'm gonna see what you think.
Okay.
I'm liking the first one with the wild rabbit.
I am too.
Okay,
I
so we're on the
I
same
can
page.
see that one. I can see that.
But then he laughed on the high speed chase, John. Which I don't know if that was like a throw me off laugh or like, oh, we've talked about this before. It was the homie who did that. It wasn't us.
I don't know, but now
The last one
the
seems too
sheriff
normal.
though. Yeah, since he's the sheriff now, man.
Was
a sheriff. You know, I can see
I don't know who's watching.
why the shooting makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh yeah, that does add a different layer to it.
No, that was way before.
I know, but
yeah.
still,
Yeah.
it's kind of he's angry and then he got Jesus, bang bang.
Jesus Christ.
That's what I ain't gonna make that joke.
Right.
On camera.
I'm comfortable.
All right, so we gonna go with the first one, the rabbit.
Yeah, I'm
That
gonna go
one's
with
the
the
lie or the truth?
We gonna say that one is the truth.
True. Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
said
that
the
was the
truth.
truth. Okay, so but you gotta pick out the lie.
That
Oh,
one's a lie.
Yeah.
so there's one lie.
There's
We got
one lie. There's one lie. 2 of those are true.
Oh, 2 of those true.
Two of them.
So I was.
One lie. You gotta pick the lie.
So we should pick the lie then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see the bread by the mysterious creature though.
I could too.
I can see that.
But it's weird because I can also see being in a high speed chase.
I just don't see how. I don't see how he had to be mistaken identity.
That's what I'm saying. It could be something
like
like that.
Yeah, it could.
You know what I mean?
I'm
Yeah.
concerned that all of these seem probable.
You know.
I mean, those are 3 very different scenarios,
And all of them seem probable with me.
I don't know, man. I'm literally stumped on that one. Okay, I'ma say the lie is the drive-by. I mean the
highway
high
high speed chase.
chase.
That's how I'm feeling too.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with the high speed chase was the lie. That's okay. That's what we.
That's your final answer?
That is.
That's the final answer.
All right. The correct answer is that all of them are true.
Oh,
The correct answer, there was no lie told in all of that. So all of those stories.
so now you know which story you want to hear.
Oh my God.
I can see getting a rabbit in the house. Everybody that maybe had a raccoon in the attic or something like that.
There was some other things going on with this rabbit and Trent.
Okay.
Specifically Trent.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Now,
Do you want to tell?
Let's just got
Let's
into
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead.
One at a time. So
Let's
first,
go. Yeah, let's go.
All right,
I'm
we
intrigued.
lived in the same house, right? And so all I know is one night, Trent come to my room. It says, "Hey man, we got a rabbit in the house." Now, mind you, this is like early in the morning. So
Yeah, it's like 2, 3 in the morning.
dead sleep,
For
right?
sure.
And Trent, obviously, he has like just his drawers on, right? And he has these huge bear claw house shoes that he had on.
About them.
And we had got like a training.
No, I got some. Somebody gave me, or I bought like these bear
It
claw
looks really
house
awkward.
shoes.
Hilarious.
And I wore them forever, and I kept them all the way until we moved to California. And Bree said, "You're not taking these house shoes to California with us." That's the only reason, or I would have them to this
That's a
day.
good woman.
Yeah, I would still have them to
Oh
this
my
day.
God.
He said
Shout out,
he
bro.
found out that we had a rabbit in the house because he would sleep on the floor. And the rabbit had climbed on top of him. It was gyrating.
Yeah. So what happened was.
So this took a left turn real quick. And mind you, I'm hearing this at 1 o'clock. I'm like,
So what happened was I fell asleep on the ground. Yeah. I fell asleep on the
I
ground.
don't know what you and Tyler got going on, but
Listen, I grew up in
Dr. Doodle?
I grew up in
Yeah.
some suspect living era situations, right? So I'm okay. I'm familiar with stuff coming in the house, right? You know, having a pet or two. You know what I'm saying? So,
I'm
however,
not familiar with that.
However, this is my first encounter with a wild rabbit. Apparently came in through a hole in the window in the basement, came up the basement stairs. There was a hole in our basement door because of a story we will not get into. With another story. And it came and just hopped on my stomach and then began to know me. Began to know me, and I woke up and I was like, "Oh snap!" Threw that thing off of me, and it just hopped and went shot underneath the couch. And so I go in the window room like, "Bro, there's a rabbit underneath in the house. You gotta help me come get this mud. I don't know what to do."
They try to take my virginity.
So he wake up and then and if anybody know Wendell, this is a perfect response. He roll over. He's like, "Bro, if there's a rabbit in this house, I'm punching you." I'm like, "Bro, why would I make up a story about a rabbit?"
I don't know.
At 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
like
that's not
there's
the
no
time.
reason for me to make the story up.
I'm done.
So
here we are. It is dead of winter.
yeah.
Open the door, picking up this couch, and as fast as we can, chucking that mug into our front yard and shutting the door.
Just shut the door. Like
This
it's-
dummy locks the door. Like, is it going to unlock it? Makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, I mean, it's still being safe.
He had just been violated. In his defense,
I had just been violated. Post-traumatic stress. Yeah.
I just got abused, taken advantage of by a rabbit.
Yeah,
I don't know how
so-
you gonna explain
So
that?
that was that one.
And so that was the rabbit.
I don't have a similar story to that, but I have a story that's close to that. We're finding a foreign animal in my house.
Yeah, that's a
Never.
elaborate.
Is that just Kansas?
It was a bat.
Is that a whole
Hold on,
Kansas
first of all,
thing?
don't
I
come from
don't.
my state.
No,
I've never heard
Now,
of.
he
I've
lives
never
there.
heard of wild rabbits in
I live in
Missouri.
Missouri.
He lives in Missouri, so he
I had
got
a bat in my basement.
Yeah, nope.
Except I thought it was a fly. I'm down there, you know, it was nighttime. I'm watching the game. It was during the playoff time. And I'm just down there in my recliner, whatever. Drew's in the bed. Everybody, you know, I'm like, all right, man cave time. Boom, lights out. And I'm just laid back. And I hear like something fly by. But I'm like, I think it's a fly, but it sounded heavy as a mug. Right?
That's a horse.
It's a horse.
That was like came like whoosh.
Right. And so I come through again. I'm like, man, what is that? So I stand up, and you know how it's dark, and then like a commercial come on, it's real light, right? So the light commercial came on, and there's a bat flying right at me. And so I dropped, and I was like, oh snap! Right? Yelling, and so my wife is like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, it's a bat, it's a bat. I'm freaking out because the bat is doing laps in my basement, just laps. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I got a broom, so I'm swinging at that mud. I'm like, I can't hit him. He lands in the corner, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get him. But I'm still a little scared.
Yeah.
So I'm like throwing like CDs at him. You use digital.
Ninja style. Yeah.
So you get it now. So you just
Listen, I was hitting it, and then we just get ready. Nothing. So then I reach over, I try to hit it with the broom. He comes down, flies, and swoops again. I open my basement door, thinking like, oh, he'll fly outside. Nope, he ain't flying outside. So I'm fighting this bat in my basement. He lands in the corner by my router. So I throw a CD. Ironically, it was my rehab CD. Maybe there's some left on it. All right, shout out to Lee Cobbins. Thank you. You helped me get a bat out of my house. The CD, bam, hit him. He goes to the other corner, and then I start laughing because this is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever had to do. So I call my dad, and I'm like, "Hey, you just had a bat. What did you do to kill it?" He was like, "I just stabbed it, right?" I was like, "That's all right, cool."
it's like, okay, I'm not a man.
I was like, so what you saying is I'm wrong. I'm gonna go do some push-ups real quick, get my testosterone up, and then I'm gonna figure out what I was like, man, should I call animal control or something? He was like, nah, man, just go and stab it or something like that, right? So I go, hold on, buddy. So I go to the corner and I get a shoe, throw a shoe, hit him, boom, he falls. I take the broom and I'm just bow. And I probably look stupid, but I'm like saying stuff to the bat. I think I call him a punk a couple times. I think I told him he shouldn't have came to my house.
Yes, sir. Wow. Tell your friends about me. Tell your friends about me. This is how I get
rabbits in here. I don't fool with rabbits like that. Bro, it was the most ridiculous. Yes. There's Drew's appearance. and we got the rest of that, fat.
Oh man.
Oh, that is a great story. But it's stuff like that to make you realize. Because first of all, if that would have happened to me, the bat just on the house.
That's what I was saying.
The bat was
like,
ooh.
That bat just.
But after I called my dad, and he was basically like, "Bro, you saw."
Yeah, he did.
He was like, "Bro," he was like, "Yeah, man, I had one in my kitchen. I just hit it with a broom and killed it."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, cool. All right."
Now let's be serious. More than likely, your daddy did the exact same thing you did, and then when you talked to him on the phone, he probably was relaxed. Like, yeah, man, I just killed it.
Because
that's gonna be the rendition. That's gonna be the rendition of the story when Dre gets a bat in his house. Be like, oh man, I just killed it. That's what happened, son.
You're right about that. That's definitely what I'm gonna say. Hopefully you don't ask details, because I won't be able to.
Because your wife will be elaborate. Let me tell you about your dad.
Right.
Yeah. Your daddy was screaming.
I'm gonna say this.
Daddy usually saying tenor, but
I personally believe that your dad probably just walked up to it and got it and just killed it.
Because you know my dad.
I can't believe that with you.
I think my father for real did was like, man, is that a bat? How dare he?
Yeah. How dare he infiltrate my home?
I think he said a couple scriptures first. I think he blasted.
What's funny is that the first time I was scared of an animal, my daddy used scripture to tell me why I shouldn't be afraid of it. My dad was saved for real, bro. Like he was telling me, he's like, man, listen, Genesis tells us that we have dominion over every creeping thing on earth, and you scared of an animal?
Hey, come on!
And I was like,
he is not giving us the
I'm
spirit.
just gonna walk up on this bear.
well, I mean, it was
You gonna
like
be that kid that like got tossed by that bison here?
I got dominion.
Right. Bison, my name is Adam.
First of all,
you need to stop.
Get me behind me, Moose.
Can we talk about this for a second? What are we doing? Come on, now what in the unflavored seasoned chicken is happening where y'all just walking up on bison? Like
Listen,
just
man.
that close together? I like going to the zoo. I love taking my kids to Deanna Rose, but I ain't just about to get in the cage with the buffalo.
But my thing
Bruh,
is,
I
don't know if the
orangutans.
I don't know if that whoever the parents were, that wasn't their kid. But they just left that little kid like
It's like
you on your own.
Like, ooh, my man.
Right here.
Like that's
Better
wild.
run for himself in here.
Yeah,
That's wild.
you should be able to run faster.
I don't know. So I don't know. It's definitely a cultural difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. One of my friends told me, he was like, "Man, if we didn't have people like that, man, we wouldn't know what was at the bottom of the ocean."
That's true.
It's a great point.
That's true.
Like,
It's
crazy
what's
man.
down there? I don't know. Because I ain't going
We
to
wouldn't even
go
know what a
find out.
moose looked like if it wasn't for people. You know what I'm
Yeah, that's
saying?
true.
Have you ever seen a moose in real life?
I mean, not
I don't
in
want
my
to.
world.
There's certain animals. I saw an ostrich in real life for the first time some years back at a fair. Brother, an ostrich look wild. First of all, an ostrich foot about the size of this table.
His talons are huge.
Look crazy. Talons look like big old Ginsu knives or something.
Yeah.
The dude's head is basically a worm out of a fluffy egg body.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Fluffy egg body is great.
And apparently they can run like 50 miles an hour or something
Yeah,
crazy.
so you ain't gonna run it.
Yeah, you ain't gonna. Yeah.
Bruh.
See,
It was creepy.
my philosophy
I cried a
is
little bit.
let them stay outside, and I'll stay inside.
No,
So
I'm
I'm
with
not
you on
even
that.
going. I'm not even
See,
going.
but that's the problem with our situation. The animal kingdom was coming into our house.
Yes.
But that was because of the hole, though.
Yeah, but
Like
listen,
from
we our first, matter of fact, every place that we lived together was a little suspect in the living situation, but we was 19, 20 years old.
Yeah, don't
I
matter.
mean,
you
so
just stomp on the couch or something.
yeah, no, it was good. So, that's where this whole thing
Oh,
went.
sorry, yeah.
So that was that was just the one story.
How did y'all get chased by the cops? I want to know. I want to know what the high speed chase
So it wasn't necessarily about the cops.
It wasn't by the cops.
So I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, so my mom needed to use my car to get to work. So she had to take somebody, whatever, so I let her use my car. She called me and said, "Hey, Trenton, I went to go warm up your car. Somebody stole the car while it was warming up." So I'm like, we need to file a police report, and since it's your car, they need you to come over here. So I think you were working either UPS or something at night. He was working a job where he, weird hours,
Right.
whatever, but so he was normally sleeping during the day.
Mind you, there's a pattern to this. I keep getting woke up at night. But
Yes.
yeah, right.
So I wake him up. And was like, "Yo, D, can you take me to my mom's house? They stole my car. We gotta do a police report." He was like, "All right, man, I get you." So we get to going. We go do the police
Hold on,
report.
pause. Let me explain what's going on in my head as we driving over there. I can do logic fairly well.
Right.
And I realized that in order to stay in the place we're in, we both got to be able to get to our jobs.
Right.
And if he don't have a car,
Uh-huh.
and I do,
Uh-huh.
I realized, wait a minute, this is going to be drawn out because we both broke. So he ain't getting a new car anytime
Right,
soon.
right. Facts. These are big facts.
And got bad credit, so you can't finance a car.
Didn't had a go score. They didn't even say it. He ain't got nothing.
So
Nothing.
that's going through my mind as I'm driving over. I'm just like, I better get used to this drive because this is going to be an ongoing thing.
Yes.
So anyway, continue.
So as we're heading
Well,
to
no, we get your mom's.
Oh no, we go to my mom's house and we're gonna take my mom to work and my nephew to school. So now it's me, Deacon, my mom, and my nephew in the car.
Right.
So as we're going down 34th Street in Kansas City, Kansas, right headed towards Parallel, we're passing by the elementary school, which was Parker, I think is the elementary school right there. And as we're coming to the stop sign, we see a car come up the hill. Now I had this was a Nissan Maxima with the blue tinted lights or whatever, so it's very distinctive when you see it coming.
Right.
So as I see it coming up, Wendell said, "Hey Trent,
Is that
your car right there?" I said, "Well, yes it is." So it goes this way. I was like, "Dad, I'm gonna call the police and tell them it's coming." What Wendell hears is,
Turn around.
"Oh, it's going up. It's going.
I know, break it up early for a whole month.
It's going down." So all of a sudden, I'm calling the police like, "Hey, this is what my thought was like. Hey, we gonna follow. They stole my car. We see him here." Wendell's like, "We about to get your car." So he bust the fattest U-turn I've ever seen, and the guys behind us seen us bust in my car, who stole my car, seen us bust a U-turn. So he take off,
Of course.
and I'm like, Dad, he took off. I look over at Wendell. Wendell take off. And I'm just looking like, okay, my mom in the car. Me in the car.
What kind of car? What kind of car? Was it?
Colors.
Oh yeah.
So we was going. And it was all good. We was like, so now I'm into it now. Like, woo! GTA! Woo! Let's go! Oh, mom in the car with the baby, like, ah.
I totally forgot they were.
Yeah, mom
Quiet. They dead quiet.
Mama's terrified. I already know. In the backseat. So we going, like, we
Deacon, like, I ain't getting up in the morning. That's all you hear.
Dipping down streets. And this is when you take a moment to pause and do like some mental inventory, and you realize, man, if I ever did need to do some dirt and need a getaway driver, man, I got him right there. But then that's the first time I took mental inventory. There's a second time coming up real soon. So then we start doing, so we smashing down Wyandotte County Road, just boom, boom, boom. The whole time I'm thinking, where is the police, right? Because we being reckless at this point. So we drive and go back. We end up on 38th Street, about to go back in Leavenworth Road. And the dude, we chasing him for a while. So the dude got scared. So he reached out the car.
Nah.
Pop, pop, 2 shots.
Oh.
So I'm like, oh snaps. It just got real. Woo woo, we're done. We're done.
This chase is over.
I look over at Wendell. His eyes gloss over. Like,
Then he goes in the seat.
yeah. Like, oh, they just shot at me.
Straight in there.
They just shot at me. He hit the thing again. I had to say, oh, bro, slow down. My mom's in the car. They shot his nephew in the car.
Nephew in the car.
And then he snapped out and was like, oh, okay, we good to go. So that's when I took mental note number 2. I was like,
My boy crazy.
my boy certifiable. But I'm glad he on my team. He on my team.
Man, he was shooting at me.
Yeah.
And he was shooting at me with that little gun.
Yeah, it was a little.
Pay me some respect.
No, it was a little gun from Harlem Nights.
Quit shooting that. Stuff wouldn't even penetrate.
I'm tired of you shooting that.
He got shot at. He was mad because the gun.
I've been disrespected all my life. Don't stir me with that little gun. Throw it at me or something. Sound like a little cat gun.
Hey, that's hard.
Oh,
Frustrating.
All right, cool. I've been shot at before. What's that little bitty gun you got? Give me 2 more minutes.
I know I could have.
So then we fell back. We fell back.
Gangster disrespected.
So then we fell back a little bit, and then kind of still trailed him, and he just hopped out the car and ran away.
He took off running.
Took off running. We finally got the car back after waiting for the police for like a half an hour, which is ridiculous after shots fired.
Hey, after he shot at y'all, they like, he still chasing? He's like, oh, he must got something else. He must got something that he ain't pulled out.
Oh my God, I can see it though.
I was interested, but I was proud of myself.
I got disrespected.
We got the car back.
We didn't get the car back, and he did not have to take me.
Yeah, but she had an experience like that. Y'all friends forever.
And the last story was the loaf of bread. We went to like the store, got some bread, put all the groceries away, accepted the bread, put on the counter. Came back after like church or something, and the bread was gone. We was like, "What happened to the bread? Couldn't find it.
Bro.
Like not like it's the like, it could have been the rabbit. It could have been the raccoon.
It was the rat.
It could have been the rat. Yeah, we had a
massive, like a
big,
small cat.
If a rat can drag a loaf of bread.
This is what I'm
that's
saying
a
because
serious rat.
I've had mice. Listen, if a mice will eat a hole through the bread, but you took the whole loaf, the plastic, everything. Everything was gone.
Man, y'all had like the cracking in your house or something.
Listen, so that was just.
Y'all had an eventful time together.
Man.
Yeah. It was
I'll be friends after that too, but I think I wouldn't live in the same house.
So now I see why y'all not roommates.
Your car will be safe.
Yeah, right now I know.
You gonna get this car.
You gonna get this car.
But listen,
I ain't getting up.
there are more stories, but we will leave them.
We
got
one-on-one.
It would
We
be
don't want to incriminate
a
anybody.
ridiculous amount of things.
It's all
but-
over now. So
Yeah, it's
statute
over.
limitations.
But it's always.
Low key, I thought during the story you was gonna tell me that Wendell pulled out something something from the seat, started busting back. I thought for sure that was gonna happen.
Listen, hey, I'll tell you that story later. You know, that's
something we can't put on.
Yeah, we can't put on podcast. He a pastor now.
Statute of limitations is like
limitation statutes are different.
Statutes about limitations.
So, but I think that everybody, but I think right now, if everybody has a Rolodex or should have a Rolodex of friends when the zombie apocalypse happen, that you know who need to be on that list, right? Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I'm on anybody's list, but
well, I mean.
Yes,
there are some uses. I mean, you push Trent out there and be like, hey, y'all get him. We gonna go.
Somebody gotta be the sacrifice.
Yeah, somebody sacrificial lamb.
Hey, we love you, brother. You gonna tell your family about you.
Man, I feel like LeBron James would be on my list. If I knew LeBron James, he would definitely be on my list. And here's why. It's not because he's tall and strong and athletic and stuff. It's because what type of person and audacity you gotta have to try to lie to me and make me feel like you don't still got that ball spot on top of you.
You know what?
I done seen LeBron James on his Instagram story, and he got some little toupee thing on, and he turned his head, and you see the front of it lift up. And like, Brian, we see that.
We see that.
You looked at this video and left it. What kind of person? I want him on my side.
I would pick Kawhi because in my heart of hearts,
I think he's a killer.
I think
he's definitely coming.
I think that he can probably communicate with the zombies. Like he might have some type of zombies.
He just started laughing and all of a sudden
like, why? He's like, haha, and like, whoa, we don't want no parts, brother. We don't want no parts of this situation right here.
Listen, KD is gonna be on my team too because KD been rich for about 10 years and he ain't brushed his hair yet. KD will come back with a fresh haircut, nappy. How you did that? How did that hair still in the same nappy?
They brush it out.
His hair ain't never grew out. They've been the same length his whole career, and it just stayed nappy.
Oh no!
What kind of person you gotta be to get a haircut and say leave the naps? Where we at, bro?
Oh man,
he's on my team.
Yeah, definitely.
He's on my team.
Oh, ridiculous.
I think the person, one of the people, shout out to him because I ain't talked to him in God knows how long, is my dude Mike Fields. I would have him on my zombie apocalypse team.
Hilarious.
For those that don't know, he is another biracial brother like myself, just as crazy. I guarantee you we would survive any of zombie apocalypse.
Definitely Mike is definitely on my team.
Because he would have been the one in the car with me cheering.
Yeah.
Like, get him. Get that fool.
Oh, do I know Mike?
Yeah, I don't know. You probably
know Bread of Life?
Yeah, he went to Bread of Life. Yeah,
He's a tall, skinny dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, I didn't know he got down like that.
No, they see what happened. Listen. I choose friends with a certain medical imbalance.
Wonder Tree.
And our powers combined. You know, we got the planet. You know what I'm saying? Type of that.
Like 1 to 10,000, 2 to 10,000 type of thing. Okay, cool.
It's like that type of stuff. All right. So, man, that's crazy. Well, next to Ed, since you're here, I can't have you here and not bring up one of the longest running open mic events in Kansas City, which is His Will. His Will birthed it became like the place where new talent came to do their thing. Yeah. And I mean that's the first time I seen Sauce, the first time I seen Solo, the first time I seen Black Sheep, first time I seen Flash, Drake, all of these dudes who came through.
That's back when Petey was doing poetry.
I was after that then. I never saw him do poetry.
Yeah, he did poetry after that. That's when I seen him. He was 15, 16, something like that.
When we first met, it was because you were creating His Will, and he just brought me to y'all meeting. This was like, hey, this is my boy. He gonna be at the meeting. They didn't know who I was. I wasn't on the radar for nothing. And Wendell was like, hey, I'm just gonna bring my boy to this meeting about your dream that you want to do with your life. There you go. But hey, he coming. And I'm like, all right, I'm in here though, right? So we met. I don't even know whose house we was at. Black Butterfly House?
It was at my house.
Was that your spot?
Yeah. On Benton, actually, on 37th and Benton. Because I kept Hey, what's up, man?
That go Drew.
He sounded just look.
He prophesied that one. He stopped like you said, bitch.
Wait a minute.
My grandma just stay up there. What's up?
Nah, man, I didn't know what I was doing when I started hitting it, dog. I ain't gonna lie. I just know I had so much fun on the secular side, because that's what I was doing most of my poetry at, because we didn't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got tired of going to the clubs every night just to do some poetry. Kind of like, man, you was influential. You got like 2 beers in the hand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, listen. That's the only person I heard all night.
Influenced all
Yeah.
My poetry.
So it was kind of, it kind of got hard, man, to see all of the stuff that I was seeing in the clubs and still be in the right state of mind.
Yeah.
So my wife was getting on me all the time. I used to always talk to her. She was like, why don't you go ahead and start something? I was like, who gonna come? Because it was at that time, musicals, midnight musicals and stuff like that. Church musicals was a thing in Kansas City and on the Kansas side. So I'm like, ain't nobody gonna come to the old Christian poetry spot. I don't even know how to put those 2 things together. You know what I'm saying? And then
That's how a lot of great things happen though. Somebody being like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do this.
I don't. And I think I told them when we did our first show, my wife was like, I ain't gonna believe it until you get a business license. So I had to go get a business license and all that other stuff. She was like, and I remember, I'll never forget, I said, if we have like 50 people, 40 people first show, I was like, that's a success for me. And I figured I was finished.
Right.
I was like, all right, cool. So if I had like 40 people, I was like, oh yeah, this is dope. That's it. Let's do it again. And the next time, I don't know, we didn't do literally little to no promotion. I don't know how people heard about it.
Yeah.
I don't
Working
know.
out, bro.
Working on,
on the stairs,
it was people on the stairs.
Oh, the Westbrook Coffee
Westbrook
House.
Coffee House, man. We were a fire hazard, bro. People sitting on the stairs. It was hot. They always sold out a bottle of water. I mean, it was some of the best times, man. I think that I've seen some of the greatest things. One of the most important things I think that I ever seen was Solo. When Solo featured, he fasted for 30 days with nothing but water. And we were at Bruce R. Watkins Poetry Center, and we probably had like 230 people in that joint.
For sure.
And it was probably like that was the first time I ever saw like an altar call that happened with a hip hop feature.
Yeah.
That let me know, I was like, yo, God can work in anything. You know what I mean? So I didn't have any, I just loved art. I love music, I love poetry, I love dance, I love the arts. And so that's realizing I started because of poetry, but realizing that there was other people, realizing that other people needed an outlet or a platform. I was like, man, let's just get this thing done. And ever since then, man, it was fun. Deacon used to get so mad at me, dog. He's like, man, what are you doing? Like, I was like, yeah, ain't working right now, dog. Like, we're God at in this thing, man. So there was a point to where we got so successful. It was so popular to where it's like, we ain't gotta do nothing, man. I ain't gotta do nothing, all that other stuff. And so we stopped and started doing Bible classes before each show, because somebody said to me, it's like the biggest thing that you're gonna ever have to struggle with was vanity. And I thought that was impossible because I was not a vain person. And so it was a lot of things that happened in between that, man, that people probably would never understand or know. All the money that I lost over because I have the love of seeing people be successful and do what they do, man. So it was fun for me, man. I loved and disliked every minute of it.
Hilarious. That sounds all right.
Speaking of that solo show, that's one of the shows that I really remember just because, like, it shut down for a while like that. That was crazy. Like, with that show and when Sauce performs Peter, John, and Paul, I remember like these are hip hop songs that really put you in worship mode. Like even to this day, like if you perform Peter, John, and Paul, it's like Hillsong zone for some people. Like,
and I think we were at Papa Lou's on
Yeah,
that
we
tour.
were.
We were at Papa Lou's because it was him,
That mother
A1, the LP.
Yeah.
And after a while, I was like, those started, like doing our poetry. I was like, but all these hip hop cats was coming. So I was like, I gotta let them eat too. Then the poets stopped coming, but then some of the singers started coming. So dancers started coming. We started, and stuff like that. And it was like, man, just the evolution to know, I think the biggest thing that I've gotten out of it to see how churches went from musicals to open mics in their churches, and not understanding the full, where it came out of, what I'm saying? And I think that I honestly don't think if it wasn't for Deacon, for Kenan, for Sharon and Jamila, I don't think it would have been successful without them. You know what I mean? The right people with the right heart to help me when I didn't understand what I was doing, but I knew I loved the arts and I wanted it to be done because I wasn't gonna be the MC. I don't know who was gonna be the MC, but it wasn't gonna be me. And they told me that it gotta be you because you started it. So I was like, when I told Kenny, well, you gotta do it because I know you the most. And then when Tre came in, it changed the whole dynamic of where the direction that it went, man. Right. And it was I don't know, man. It was a good time.
First of all, I want to say you're welcome because I'm, but I will say this, like, I love hosting, right? But there are, you realize when you find like a connection with somebody, like Ed and I, like we flow very well together.
And never talked until the day of the show. We never sat down and said this is like how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do in between this show and we're gonna do in between here. And it was such to where I was like, dude, it was pointing to I'm looking, I'm like, man, Trent got it tonight. Cause I ain't in it, so I'm gonna go ahead and let him. He got the show, and I think the biggest thing for me was when we got tested a couple of times. The one brother did the comedy.
Bruh. Yo, we had a couple of interesting moments. Questionable
moments. They looking at me like, I wonder what Ed gonna do, and I'm like, how am I gonna shut this dude down and not stop the show? And everybody like, yo, because he was saying he did a couple jokes in the beginning. I was like, he funny.
Yeah.
Then he did one joke. It was like the bathroom or something. I was like, wait a minute, where is he going with this joke? I'm like, okay, the first few was cool. Me sitting there like, where you going with this joke, dog? Yeah. And this joke started keep going over. And it just kept going. I'm like, bro, come get this dude, because this joke is... Deacon went outside and talked to her. The bodyguard. Like you said,
the crazy light skin dude.
Yeah. No, but we had some interesting. The joke had some people do some questionable spoken word pieces.
Ah man,
one about the prison or whatever. Yeah.
And then one dude did he did the hip hop. He was like Buddha, Muhammad, sunset.
Yeah,
and I'm upstairs. Christian, I'm upstairs like, yo, you ought to come down here.
And Shep, shout out to Shep. Shep looked at me, was like,
we just gonna rock on it. We gonna rock with it.
We gonna keep doing it. I'm upstairs dealing with an issue because some people think they're supposed to be the feature, and I was like, who told you was featured? You know, and somebody came and said, yo, y'all ought to come hear this dude downstairs. I'm like, Why ain't none of y'all started?
Y'all looking at me.
Cause I'm in the corner. I'm sitting there like. Somebody gonna get hey, this dude wildin'. This dude wildin'. Y'all see him wildin'? Nobody else see him wildin'?
Is this me?
It's just me. I just see him wildin'.
I'm just the host.
I'm just the host. They just brought me here. I don't know.
I'm not touching this dude. Man,
it's saying man up there.
Yeah, and I think it's been fun, man. I think the evolution of hip hop that from his will to First Saturdays, that evolution in Kansas City, I think it was huge for artists. Like, you know, I mean, when you think about everybody that really stayed with their craft that's doing something right now continually, Sauce. You know, Chris is killing it. TK Lee is, you know,
I'm interject real quick. This brother's Shock. Let me tell you, Shock. I tell him all the time. I hate Shock. Like, I hate him with a passion. Like, his face bothered me. So I just want to push him down. But this dude been consistently fired for a long time.
A solid decade.
Listen, he got a project that's coming out. He let me hear some snippets. Crazy. And every time he send me something, I just be like, Shock, but you're not this good though. Yeah. Like, dude, you're not this fire. Like, how you keep doing this? Yeah. How you keep getting these artists to do it? How it is ridiculous. Like, so
cause he
got more coming.
In the city, like every artist that was making music around here probably has done at least a song with Shock.
Had to. And I mean, and the thing about it, like the every artist that he put out from when Dre and when they did their project, when Baby Boy, what was it?
Baby Boy, Black Sheep, Olive, Kingdom of Advancement, Just Be like all, yeah.
I mean, and I don't know, like to this day though, I just can ride to 83's first project. Yeah. Like I can. That's like, I don't know if you can say that that's like Kansas City royalty to me when it comes to like his project and what he did lyrically, you know what I'm saying, as far as being a singer, not a hip, you know what I'm saying, not to be a hip hop artist, but to be able to sing his verses in such a style like that. Yeah. I think I haven't heard anybody, you know, in my mind, I thought he was gonna quit Passion, just like, because your album's going gold, dog. That's everything I was thinking. He was a monster. So it was a lot of monsters that hit, man.
I don't know if we can get into it today, but one day I do have to sit down with you and go over the golden era of hip hop bracket.
I watched that.
Before we get too far past his will. Like his will is always gonna be a special spot for me because I released my first album at his will, bro. My very first album that I made, Kryptonite. I dropped. Me and 83 did like a double feature thing, and I dropped my album that night, and I sold like 80 of them that first night.
It was a lot of this. You know what? That was one thing that that's right. That's what Voice Box always say.
I didn't get a cut. I was just paying my first. I didn't get a cut today.
Voice Box was like, dog, I always come to you, dog, because no matter what, I know I'm gonna sell some CDs. I was like,
so backhanded now. Just
when you think about that era, man, and the songs that came through his will, I'm talking like Bible on My Side to me is a
still
classic.
Grinding. Yeah,
it's a classic. It
is.
I mean, pay homage, you know. Salt shaking on the world real bad. Like, I mean, that's ridiculous.
When Azriel Alicia hit the stage, dog, D.A. Horton. I mean, people
love trying.
I didn't even know
Dre Senior.
Dre Senior just like
I listened to some. I got an old version of Dre Senior that never came out, and I was like, Dre could rap.
Yeah, I'm like, no.
Dre was rap.
You know what? And I first saw Dre at a church. I forgot where I was. I don't know if I was on the Kansas side or Missouri side. And I first heard this dude, and he did a song. I was like, wait a minute.
Juneteenth. To me, that's a classic album.
Yeah, the first song I heard from him is is
Let me hear the bongos play.
Yeah, I like the way that I'm justified.
I mean, man, who? Because even out of one of the songs, I don't know why. Maybe I remember because it's just such a catchphrase to me. Was Roy?
Jesus look good on me.
Yeah, Jesus look good on me.
Every time
I want a T-shirt that says that, and I'm like, I don't know why.
Anytime somebody can take your song and make it a hot song in another song, you like, hey, that was ridiculous.
I was like, come on, man. Oh my God, it was so many people.
What's his name? Roy the narrator?
Yeah, Roy the narrator.
I haven't heard him narrate a thing.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What's up, Roy? What did you narrate?
Roy the narrator.
Not a thing.
Man. I don't know,
Children, but something.
I want you to narrate a YouTube video.
Yeah, nothing. He
Narrate Lowe's podcast. Podcast. Narrate this podcast.
Yeah.
You feel me?
And with the one thing I want to say about Deacon since he's here, like his poetry he could really cut you, and you just sitting there like, like.
But I thought I
And
always
he
thought
holding
that was dope.
He
like,
holding his paper, but he just like shock. I'm like,
yeah, stab.
Paper blank.
Yeah.
I got a paper cut.
I'm like, oh, you just not even. Oh,
He
you just helping. I just don't get nervous. Like,
It's just not, man. And
yeah, that's.
I was so mad at this dude for retirement. Him and Dre Senior, I think, was the two people that I was. That was it. He was like, I'm finished,
He was
bro.
like, no, I'm happy Deacon retired. Yeah, I was so frustrated. Deacon is Dre retired.
I was happy for that one. Get out of here.
I had a cousin that was Deacon and he never did do me like that boy Dre Singer.
I was just poetry. Because I promise you, I think I featured Dre Senior. We went to that, what was that place on 31st where y'all started, we had to have,
City.
No, on 31st Street. That was, it was like behind Wendy's or something on 30, where y'all used to have like a hip hop play. Y'all used to do stuff before His Will got started. What was that place back in the day? I forgot.
Oh, it's called a trap house.
Nah, it was a trap house first. He was like a gospel. They was doing
making
poetry
different
back
type of
then.
plays.
They did poetry and rock music.
Up north?
No, it was on 30. It was graffiti. You had to walk up the steps and they had graffiti on the wall. I never forget.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they had the couches.
This is way up north, off of North Oak.
No. This is in the city. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
I forgot that place, man. It was a dope spot, but she was trying to hit me over the head with the prices, dog. I was like, she was like, yo, we do this on a trial basis. I used to do
it was in Missouri, like 34th Street, like kind of.
Yeah. I was like,
we only did a couple of shows.
They had like couches, but I didn't know what you was talking
Back
about.
to life.
Back to life. Yeah, that was the dog. This
might have been before my time.
Yeah, dog. This was if you ever had an ideal spot that you wanted to have. It was a coffee shop, bro, that spanned literally the length of the building. It had a fish tank in that mug, and then it had two screens on the side of the stage. You could probably fit like 13 to 15 people could fit on this stage. It had couches and old school chairs and a dance floor.
Yeah, it was dope.
It was a dope
They
spot.
wanted to lie for it. They wanted to lie to rent the joint.
Nah, it was the owner put all of his money. He put his house into it, money into it. And we got to talking, and it was a whole thing about the churches wouldn't support it because they was thinking he was trying to start a church, trying to steal his members or something like that. Because it started in California, And then it was just in a bad spot though.
Yeah.
I think it was just location wise, it
But
just
it
didn't work. But
the
the space was
dope.
I was late to the game when that wasn't even in the game.
That's when you was in vaccinated condition.
Shock was actually Shock was the first event I did. Like I did a Shock event at
Bannister Mall.
No,
it was Bob Bannister. It was
at his
Shock at his uncle's church. Yeah, what's the name?
That was the KCR Shock collaboration.
Everybody thought we hated each other.
Yeah, because
and it really we just hated Shock.
Yeah. See, I told you Shock is just Shock. We just hated Shock. But
Shock is your fault.
Everybody thought that like KCR and Shock Music had beef, but we really did.
You know what? I heard that. I was like, we need to do. Somebody's like, oh man, we need to do a. We need
That's
to do
because Shock and then people came in like it was Death Row Records. He had all the killers on his label. I felt threatened every time. If it wasn't for Jesus, I'm like, look, all right, so
because when Joe,
he did have street dudes on the label though. He did kind of have
Joseph. What was his name? That was a part of. They did an album. It was Joseph. What was his name?
Who you
Light
talking
skinned dude, Joseph. Not Joe. Was I don't know.
Rook.
Rick the Rook?
No.
I let him drink alone. Let him smoke alone. Hey, whoa, we believe you.
I left the door alone.
No, I don't think they was on KCR.
Like he didn't even run the last 7 bars. I'm not
One Life.
Yeah, One Life. That's what I was saying.
One Life.
One Life. Yeah, I thought his name was Joe. No, what I said.
He was Joseph Pete. He said Joseph Pete.
Yeah. Him and Petey did that.
Yeah. Drop off.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is stuff that music wise.
The young people that's coming up now, like. That I don't remember the years it was from, but that little span of time where we had the first Saturdays in Hinsville, and we had all these, we probably had 20 legitimate artists, or groups coming out of Kansas City, and making noise.
They were making noise. The AC showcase that they did was the craziest thing. Now this is what I want to ask, because I think that was like the greatest time in like Kansas City.
It was roughly 2006. To about 2010. My daughter passed in 2010. So in that 2000, because I got my business license in April of 2006, and then we had our first show I think in like June. Yeah, June of 2006.
I probably didn't get in there until like 08.
That's when we had to put chairs on the stage because people.
On the stage. That's ridiculous.
We were literally a fire hazard. Every show.
We had that one at 83's church. That joint was packed in there.
Yeah,
like that. I mean, that first Thursday used to be. It wasn't huge, but to have that many people in there for that event, like it was.
It's big. I could honestly say, if we really just like, because in my mind once KCR started, and then Shock was just continuing to do what he's doing, I think in my mind I was like, man, we need to go on tour. Cause I was thinking that, I mean, we did the one in Texas, but that wasn't what I like envisioned. But I was like, if we had the people that I think, Terrence, man, we had so many people that we definitely could have took a tour and just really just
Go get your son. That's how they go because you're on camera.
He was like, I'm not a father. I'm not a father. Wait, whose kid is that?
We already know.
So your kid never walk away. Whose kid is that? I don't even know.
You don't see me.
He said it like this. Daddy.
Look at the cat. Daddy.
It's real life fatherhood right now. It's real in these streets, dog.
No, but I think that, you gotta have, that's sufficient daddying right there. You gotta do it. There's been plenty of times my kids that came downstairs and I just be like,
but here's the thing, they're gonna keep calling for you.
No matter what.
Daddy, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get you.
And they always do it at the most inopportune time. You on the phone. Daddy, talk to you. Daddy. You see me on the phone right now. Why you want to talk to me?
I think though that time, I guess as we've gotten older, I've appreciated the different phases in life, and I think that phase had its time, had its purpose. To a degree, maximize its potential. I mean, as with anything that you do, I mean, anytime you go through a phase, you can always nitpick and go back and be like, man, we should have done this. Like, man, I probably would have made that relationship, I probably would have done this, whatever it was. But, you know, I think instead of the nostalgia producing like a level of regret, instead it's like, man, that was dope when it happened.
And I think this new generation, I don't think back then it seemed like it's so long ago, but that back then in that time, all of those artists had a grimy mentality. Like I'm selling CDs, outside, or what I'm saying. It had that it wasn't really like a social media selling CDs. It was like I had the real grind in the studio.
MySpace back then.
And I think also that they had, I think what brought it together is because at that point, in general, there were some churches that were better than others, but in general, if you were the hip hop artist, if you were the spoken word artist, that you were an anomaly in your church talent
at
show.
that point.
Right. And I think that was my
now
thing
you
too.
can get around people that are like-minded, then now you can hone your craft. It can be critiqued, it can be appreciated, it can be, not appreciated, whatever it is.
So,
but it's,
and I think that was the thing too, because that was my thought process, because I would go to churches and perform, and then they would forget about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I've been in there, and I've watched them to where they would pay a pastor that spoke for I never forget this. I ain't gonna never say church, but like it was a church. Nah,
That's it.
Nah, I ain't gonna do it. But like it was 3:30 service. This is how old school that was. 3:30 service.
Afternoon service.
Man, afternoon service.
Ain't nothing like a 3:30 service.
Go get you a sandwich.
You know what I'm saying? Come
Yeah.
back. You know what I'm saying?
So
Church
mad.
shit went too far from you. Okay.
You know, church only got out at 2:22.
Yeah. You gotta go. Oh, you remember 3:30 service?
Yeah.
We got snacks downstairs.
Oh, you can't leave.
You can't leave.
You can't leave.
They got you locked in anyway.
Well,
All right, don't worry about it. We gotta change your clothes for you downstairs.
Well played.
Guess I'll go get this sandwich. Since y'all got me locked in.
It's a tuna sandwich.
Peanut butter sandwich. No jelly. What is that?
What kind of demonic activity you got going on? These peanut butter sandwiches.
Removing my membership.
I will be withdrawing my membership.
Let me write my letter right now.
Apricot jelly. We put apricot jelly on peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Hey, my grandma.
Why is my bread not toasted?
Apricot jelly.
Really?
I'm like, I can't make no peanut butter and jelly with the jelly that look just like the peanut butter.
I don't know what
it's
to
messing my mind. It's messing my mind up.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Apricot jelly, mad brown.
Where do I put it?
It's still going to jail and say what?
My taste buds don't know how to taste it. I'm like, it looked like all jelly, but it looked like all peanut butter, but it tastes like jelly. Heck, it's an apricot anyway. I've never seen an apricot in my life.
It's no real fruit.
It's not a real fruit.
Apricot.
Prove it.
Chris like this.
When everybody in the house over 60, you just get different type of food. You know what I'm saying?
You got prune jelly.
You're right. Hey, she always had prune juice.
So this is what I think. This is what I always think about now, right? It's like all that stuff is great, but two things. Now that I'm getting older and I'm trying to get more active and doing different, stuff in the community, I think about one, how do like everybody has done, like you've done His Will, you got music going, you got a whole church and a plethora of other business and stuff. Like, how do you manage like your the dreams and like burdens that like you have to do versus still like having a whole family?
I was about to say, because we all got jobs and stuff too.
Jobs and a whole family. Yeah. And I also think about like His Will. I think His Will for Saturdays, like that, all that stuff was necessary for our age. Like, how do we attack the next generation coming up when they process stuff differently, they communicate differently, like the things that like like all of that stuff. Like, and I think about that stuff all the time.
I think that was
the management piece. It's tough.
It's hard. I think that was one of the reasons why it was so difficult for me to come back to do the open mic grind again. I think for me, once, like Deacon was saying, appreciating that time for what it was, and then understanding now that I had to, begin to diversify what I was doing. How do I go from these open mics and adding the concerts? But in that time frame of when, like when I lost my daughter, it gave me an opportunity to stop and decide which direction I wanted to go, because my life was so hectic. We couldn't go to the store without somebody wanting to stop and talk and, and stuff like that. And just, hey man, let me run this idea by you, and I'm just trying to get bread with my wife and kids, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, But I think the one thing, I'd use my time at night for myself, like when the house is quiet. Because I never got a lot of sleep anyway. So for me, that was my time to manage the decisions and really think about what I wanted to do next. Is this what I wanted to do? If I continue that, what would this look like if I stopped doing that? So for me, the management happens when my house was quiet, because I couldn't be father and husband and then trying to talk about what I wanted to do next in that process, to be able to give them the time that they were due, the time that my kids were due, the time my wife was due, and then trying to think about promoting this event. In my head, I wasn't always there. So I think that's, for me, was the time that I used to kind of manage everything. All the stuff shuts down. Everything I do with His will and thought about with His will was always after my wife and kids were asleep.
And see, for me, when I was doing a lot of the things that I was doing, making music, events, and traveling and things, like I didn't have kids, so I was married, but Drew wasn't born yet. So for me, I didn't have to manage being a dad, and so I worked really, really hard. So I'm a fireman, so there's that schedule. And so you doing that and you grinding with that, and then on my off time I'm hitting studios, or we go out of town to Texas right fast and record, because I was signed to a producer and stuff. So I had things moving. His will I felt like we was doing something every Saturday, some type of event, whether it was shot at His will, whether it was first Saturdays or whatever, and it allowed me to work and go super, super hard with recording and writing, and learning like the skill of songwriting, and like learning to be proficient with whatever time I had, instead of like having to, wait and linger and tarry for like ideas. It's like I kind of knew how to access the things that I've been thinking about and inspired by, and go straight to it by the repetition and traveling and writing with different people, writing for different people, and having small time crunches. So it allowed me to be proficient at it. So by the time my wife said that she's ready to have a kid, right? I was like, man, I'd already achieved a lot of the things that I never thought that I really could achieve, from different types of awards and different type of nominations, and working with artists that I, was like my favorite artists at the time. And now all of a sudden I'm on a song with them. And so I felt like, okay, there's things that are happening with the dude I was signed with, which I can't discuss on camera. But some things was happening that may force me to leave that situation. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, my brother got killed at the end of 2013, same time frame. Me and my wife had 2 miscarriages back to back, same time frame, like in all like a 5 or 6 month span. And then my job, the station I was working at, was getting shut down, which means I was getting displaced, didn't know where I was going. So I'm like depressed, sad. And I'm like, I don't know I'm gonna make music anymore. But fortunately for me, I could move to the next phase of life with having a kid, because I had worked so hard up until that point. I was just about to turn 30. And so I'm like, man, we spent that time. And now maybe music is for me no more, but I can deal with that because I was able to spend my time working hard when I didn't have to come home to a kid. My wife understood my work. She could come with me, she could stay at home or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so now, making music now, Drew is on the mic with me. I got Drew recording stuff, Yeah. I got him in the room downstairs while I'm making stuff, and he's in the background. And so I have to be able to be in and out, think of my stuff, get it down, and then be up. So we can get up, we can play, we can go to T-ball practice or whatever the case may be. So I didn't necessarily mine was different in that I didn't have to navigate fatherhood. Yeah. But I had to navigate being a husband and working my job. Yeah. But it allowed, the type of job I had, it allowed for the time I needed to get done everything that I did. And now we're here, and I'm kind of just...
because you're still doing, you're still moving. And it's not the same
difficult.
You're still moving.
It was difficult.
I don't do as many events because it seems like nowadays, I'm kind of, so to the kids, I'm old. Like, you know, I'm not really old in life, but like the kids is like, oh, you're 16. Like I'm more than twice your age. You know what I'm saying? And so,
which is wild to me because like I have when I started going to Bread of Life, I was like 13.
Oh wow!
And my youth leader was probably like my age now, and I thought he was like
ancient,
right. And so now I'm here seeing these kids like. Dang, I'm washed.
Right.
Like
I thought I was doing cool, but I'm like,
imagine this. When you see somebody, they tell you that they were born the year you graduated high school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's for me. I'm sitting here like, but and I was always the oldest in the room when it came to his room. Like I was.
You the oldest in the room now?
Facts. I still look the youngest though.
Yeah.
I still look the youngest out of everybody. I still look as the youngest.
The Lord is grace does he still have hairlines?
Mine.
It's okay. I'm just saying.
Man, mine was running for me. I couldn't.
Everybody can't get the favor.
I'm running away. Dear you.
Dear you got a whole different meaning. Please don't run me. Please don't. You said if I believe it. Don't you even come get me. I'm running away. Listen, it's okay, man. Sometimes the problem don't come back.
I never listen to that song. But every time I see it, I look at it real like
I'm not gonna be able to listen to this.
my hairline just ran away from me. I was like, come on, man.
Listen, man.
What about you, Steve? I mean, you
being a pastor, man.
Yeah, I think so to manage the original question, I guess, how do you pursue the dream, so to speak?
Yeah.
And manage, life. I guess again, just as you get older, you kind of see things different. I see that my life is the dream, and I got to figure out how to manage the dream with my life. And so if it doesn't fit, then it doesn't fit, and that's cool. So I guess for me, I get frustrated by a lot of people when we're so infatuated with greatness, and everybody wants to be great. I mean, that to a degree, one of the core essences of social media is everybody wants to be a celebrity. So like me, comment on me, share me, whatever it is. Everybody wants to be great, and so they post all the great things they're doing, the great thoughts that they have, and some of that's cool, and some of it's not. But I think there's a sincere lack of the reality, again, biblically speaking, that me being the dopest husband possible, and me being the dopest father possible, and me just loving those around me is the greatest thing that I can do. That's the dream, right? And I think so many people kind of like, this is kind of getting in the way of what I really want to do. And when that's the case, man, you're all jacked up. So I mean, I had the privilege of running a business for a few years when I built from scratch, and I, as my own boss. I know that's a big movement now, is become an entrepreneur and all of that. And shout out to all the people that want to pursue entrepreneurialism. That's great, and by all means do so. But I realized, when I came home one day and my wife was so stressed out and depressed because I had to go non-stop. And people were like, yo, man, embrace the grind. Like, we got to grind. Nah, man, listen, not for the sake of my family.
Bruh.
That's what it is.
And so what happened is, here I was calling my own shots. I mean, I vacationed when I wanted to. I remember we did a trip to Chicago to see some family in Chicago, and one of my brother-in-law there actually was just like, hey man, so when y'all going back? And not in an arrogant way, I was like, whenever I want to. He was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, I run my own business, so I would just go back when I want to. And he's like, oh man, see, that's what I want to do. And I felt like a stroke of my pride was just like.
No, it was a dope flex. I like
it. It was a dope flex.
I like it. You know what I'm saying? When you said it, I was like,
when I feel like
do what I want.
I may go back tomorrow. I don't know. I may decide next week.
I think I might move here.
Yeah, it's like a muscle flex with the long sleeve shirt on.
Yeah, just check it, make sure it's still there. Just make sure it's still there.
Just a little. You know it's there.
But for all of that though, and then when you get back and you realize, I mean, you're being woke up at 2:00 in the morning, you know, by an employee calling in. You're having to do 12, 14, 16-hour days on 2 or 3 hours of sleep. And so you're doing this and everybody else is kind of envying you. And so to a degree, you begin to envy you like, oh man, I need to keep doing this, man, but all the while it's eating you alive. I'm like, no, that's not managing what the Lord has called you to do. That's you living completely out of bounds.
I think that I am trying to learn how to manage my time better. Because I feel like there's some things that I have to do for my family and for my wife or whatever. And there's, I work a job, but I think there's some things that I'm called to do. Not even like I have a business or so. Like I think that, okay, God has put me in these place to do this activity or with these people or whatever. And I don't have the time, energy, or resources to do them the way that I think they need to be done. And some of it could just be managing the stuff. And sometimes I just wake up and like, I don't know who said I was cut out to do this.
So I think there's a lot of situations though where somebody, again, I mean, as we've kind of talked about, God knows I put my foot in my mouth I don't know how many times. There's the thing to say, then there's the time to say it, right? There's the thing to do, then there's the time to do it. So what happens is you'll feel called to do something and you think it's now.
Yeah.
And so then you try to force it now. And it's like, no, like you're still being called to do it. And the Lord, He's put that passion in you. That's dope. Cultivate that joint. Like let it stew. Let a situation in life kind of be a little bit different. Maybe your kid grows up a little bit more. So now they don't need as much direct care and you're able to bring them along with you because they're not an infant anymore. Or, you're a newlywed person. Like spend time. I mean, I know people, we talked about the His Will, First Saturday. I know people that were terrible husbands because they were out every single weekend praising the Lord. No, dude, you need to be with your wife. It's like you need to go home.
And I think that was
they were pursuing that dream.
And I think that was the thing for me because people looking at me like, man, you over His will, you know, because that's why that was one reason why I never said. There you go.
That's yours.
That's yours.
That's why I didn't bring my kids.
Yeah, I'm good. My wife upstairs. We're good.
And I think that was one reason why I never said I was over His will. I was always saying, yo, I'm an MC at this open mic, come holler at me. Because I never wanted that the weight of what that was beginning to look like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't separate the two. You know, it's like, yo, it was Ed and this and His will, and then because it was a lady. I was so yeah, that's you. I was so disconnected from it. I remember that one time this lady was telling us, hey, I got a word for the person that was over it. And I was sitting next to Deacon. Deacon was like, she talking about you, dog. I'm like,
yeah. You talking to me?
So I think that was the thing. I think for me, I was, and then just trying to make sure.
I'm sorry, my daughter just came and interrupted the podcast and then told them to shh, go upstairs. They're recording.
That's shit, girl.
But y'all need to shut up.
Y'all are too loud.
I miss.
I had to talk to Daddy. Y'all
but that just blew my whole mind. She let us say, shh, he recording. Go upstairs. You just came.
Girls always in charge of the kid. The older girl.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
About when you were talking about like spending every weekend gone, and so that's when I was married. When I was married, huh? Still married.
I read that one time.
Confessions.
Let's take this in a different direction.
You just said your album. You wasn't about no.
When I was making.
When that's that possible, we can make
You was like, man, my wife is good, but wait a minute.
She was just two
but I might not
possibles.
think about it.
That was just two possibles.
Just mad possibles out here. No love, only possible. Hilarious.
Possibly might still be married by the end of the podcast.
Possible and impossible.
As soon as this is over,
Yeah. Hey, babe.
I'm going to I am zero.
She got a lot of text on this. What I was trying to say is when I was making music at the beginning of my marriage, something that I was really mindful of is just the time that I spent. So if I knew that if I so my wife was supportive of what I was doing because she was like, man, I think you might be good at it.
Right.
And like, I think you do have to give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And so the fact that there was a point when I was almost done. And I'm glad I didn't quit because I met Lecrae like 2 weeks after that. Mm-hmm. And so I was about to quit because we didn't have no money. And I'm like, bro, I gotta go work another job, and I ain't gonna leave no time for studio. So I'm gonna just, it is what it is. If God meant it for me, then maybe He'll provide a way, and He absolutely did. So with her starting to see things happen, it made it easier for her to be like, okay. And I never asked. I never said, hey, can I do this? I would always just let her know what was happening.
Yeah.
And then she basically gave me permission to do it because I never wanted her to feel like something that I was really trying to be cognitive of all the time is just like I don't want her to feel like that she's an accessory to my life. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I've heard many people was like, my wife is a widow to the church, or my wife is a widow to the ministry. My wife is a widow to whatever they're doing. Like that can't be the case. Like they used to be like, oh, that was just like a
people almost wore that like a badge of honor.
Yeah,
that's why I used to, and that was the reason why I used to shout out my wife no matter when she was there. You know what I'm saying? So it was literally like to the point to like, yo, I'm like to my wife sometime no matter. Because my wife was doing real estate and stuff like that. My baby was still little and stuff like that. So they couldn't come all the time. She couldn't come all the time. And then we didn't start till like 8 and get out till like, midnight, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So
it's not peak baby hours.
Not peak, yeah. So it got to the point, but I wanted to make sure I acknowledged her. You know what I'm saying? And I honored her because, she's sacrificing these Fridays. Right. Where she got to babysit, you know what I'm saying? I mean, not babysit, but you know what I'm saying? But take care of the kids. But it's sometimes you don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? You can't just say.
Yeah, I just think that there's kind of twofold. I think there's one, really check your heart. What do you think is the greater of the two? Mm-hmm. I mean, because if most of the people would have been honest, we would have thought the greatest thing we could have done is like blow up, right? With whether it's poetry, whatever it was. We'll know the Christian answer to say that, my family, that's great. No, really what you would